successful.
So there is one definite vacancy going in the ministry, which is the Communication Minister's job. Paul Fletcher is a former telco executive and close to Malcolm Turnbull in their shared interest in all matters techie. We spoke to him a little earlier, especially about what the Prime Minister means when he talks about the need for Australia to embrace disruption and innovation. Well, Paul Fletcher, let's start at a pretty obvious place, Monday night. Did you vote for Malcolm Turnbull?
Yes, I supported Malcolm Turnbull, as did a decisive majority of colleagues in the Liberal Party room. Essentially, I think because of the economic vision that Malcolm has laid out. He's talked about the ever-increasing competition in the world and the fact that presents opportunities and challenges for a nation like Australia. For example, the fact that 2 billion people in Asia are coming into the middle class, terrific opportunities to sell milk, meat, protein, but also services. And yet we've got Labor extraordinarily opposed to the China-Australia Free Trade Agreement, which is a terrific opportunity to capture these trends that are driving the world economy. The rise of Asia is a major trend. Of course, another big trend is digital disruption, which is affecting every industry. Now, that's something that Malcolm Turnbull in his personal experience is very familiar with as Communications Minister, who's been very engaged with it.
What do you think that disruption mentality means in governing? How might he bring that as an approach to all manner of policy experiments?
Well, I think a very good example of that is the work that Malcolm has done in relation to the Digital Transformation Office. So that was set up at the start of this year with a view to bringing much more of an agile mindset and the use of digital channels to engage with citizens. So this is things like if you're transacting with Centrelink in relation to a benefit, if you're transacting with the tax office. And there's been good work done across individual agencies and departments, but the Digital Transformation Office is about how do we make government as flexible and responsive as the private sector has been in using digital channels. So we all now expect to be able to engage with our bank, our airline and insurance company very efficiently online. Government has not done as good a job. The Digital Transformation Office, which Malcolm has been leading, is about making government more flexible and responsive. For example, it's just gone out to hire 20 people from the private sector, user experience experts, software experts and so on. So I think that's one of the themes that we can expect to see as Malcolm leads the government as Prime Minister.
Is that an experimental approach, one which says we'll flip and flop and change policy around based on whether it's working or not? Is he bringing a business mind, do you think, to governing?
Well, clearly one of Malcolm's attributes and strengths is his very successful business career, and the mindset of the digital world, the so-called fail fast mindset, the startup mindset, has been very important, for example, to the success of the US and many other countries in capitalising on the digital revolution. And there's some great success stories in Australia. Look at Atlassian, a company with a value approaching $4 billion, started by 2 young UNSW graduates, now over 1,000 employees, exporting software around the world. Look at Cochlear, look at ResMed, medical devices companies.
You know the telecommunications industry and the digital industry more broadly. Would you like to be, there is obviously a vacancy in communication, would you like to step into that ministry?
Look, it's really not about me. All of us are here to serve as the Prime Minister asks, and of course whatever I'm asked to do I'll be happy to do. But the important thing is the economic direction for Australia, and also drawing a very sharp contrast between a confident, optimistic approach, forward-looking approach that Malcolm Turnbull represents, and sadly the backward-looking approach of the Labor Party, a parliamentary Labor Party dominated by former union officials.
The NBN is obviously critical to Malcolm Turnbull because it is his project. Whoever manages that will be watched on very closely, I suspect, by the Prime Minister. Could you give a guarantee that there would be no blowout above the most recently forecast maximum of $56 billion, and also on time?
Let's just be clear. The whole approach that Malcolm Turnbull has brought to the NBN is transparency. Every week the rollout numbers are updated. When we came to government, we held a strategic review to analyse what was actually happening with the NBN. We found things were much worse than the previous Labor government had said. We've just announced the most recent corporate plan, which offers a clear path to, by mid-2018, 75% of premises able to connect. It's already at 1.3 million, over 1.3 million. It was a bit over 300,000 when we came to government. So that remarkable turnaround that Malcolm Turnbull has led.
But on time and on budget performance, these are complex projects. Can they always be delivered according to the most recent forecast?
And look, one of the hallmarks of Malcolm's style is he has always been transparent about saying this is a very large and ambitious project, and large infrastructure projects are risky. We believe we have a robust and effective plan to deliver and to minimise the risk, but he's always been very open about the risks. For example, the new NBN satellite is due to launch 1 October. 4% of satellites launches blow up on impact. That's just a fact. We've been very open about that. Almost certainly that won't happen. There's a very small possibility that it does. Complex technology projects have these risks. Malcolm's approach as Communications Minister, and you can expect to see it continue as Prime Minister, is to be open and transparent, say these are the risks, this is our plan to deal with it and mitigate. And I think that's much better than the approach we consistently see from Labor of let's have some headline announcement, 100 megabits per second, we'll announce that and worry later about how we deliver it, or just recently, the 50% RET target that Bill Shorten announced. Where's the detailed plan to do it? $80 billion plus of investment is likely to be required. That is anathema to the kind of fact-based, calm, rational, detailed approach to government that you will see under Malcolm Turnbull as Prime Minister.
Yep, and governments like satellites and rockets don't want to blow up on launch. So let's see how this one goes. Paul Fletcher, thank you.
Thanks indeed, Greg.
Finally, enough contact has been